Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. You're ready to go back to the planet. What is involved? What energies have spun around it that get you to this place? Who is able to be in the wind of birth? These things are difficult to describe, for they're not linear. But you are aware of only linear things. So we're talking about coming back, are we not, after perhaps a lifetime you'd lived before. So you would expect in the wind of birth you are about to reconnect as a human being into the planet in a certain way. So what are the rules of this as you connect again to humanity? Well, let me tell you what they're not. The first thing you should know is that the human being is unique. On this planet, coming and going, humans all are the same. They all have a higher self, every single one. The structure of the DNA and the potentials within are identical. And the only thing that differentiates one from another in the DNA would be the Akashic record. But the Akashic record holds within it the ability and potential for enormous energy, depending upon what you have done in past lives. If you have awakened to spiritual potential, there is more energy than if you have not. Therefore, the creation of an enlightened old soul is literally available at the wind of birth. For it's what you've done before, who you were, what you accomplished, if you awakened earlier, if you're working the light puzzle or not. So the Akashic record is not just a record of how many times you've been here, but how much spiritual knowledge you've awakened to. For in that library that I spoke of before, that you pick up and hold through your life and into the next, will help you to know what the next life is going to be like. Because of the axiom we've given you before that says you will never have to relearn anything. That once you open the door, it is all available, all lifetimes, all learning. Therefore, what I'm about to tell you is this: the human being is a piece of God. Unique. It is not an animal. The human being has the beautiful higher self. It's the core soul of God. And how much of that you can accept and open the door to see it while you're alive is how enlightened you become. There is immense planning to put you at the wind of birth. What did you accomplish last time, if anything? Who were you and what did you do? What energies did you start that were not complete? What soul group were you in? Who were your parents? Are you in agreements to become their grandchildren, your grandchildren? There are so many things that go into the planning, and each life path is different. It is unique. And humans don't like the fact that there is no instruction manual that says, here's what happened. Because humanity is honored way above that. Let me tell you something that happens that I've not discussed before in this way. There are certain attributes that humans get after they're here, and we'll call them creative attributes, that are actually almost quantum, that take several lifetimes to complete. And so what happens to the creatives is that they will go through a series of numbers of lifetimes as though it were one in order to have completion. Famous artists will come back. The first thing they want to do is pick up a brush and continue, and they do. Famous composers, famous poets, sculptors. And they come back and keep going. Some of the masters of the old. And you play this classic music and you say, Why, they don't make them like that anymore. You're wrong, they're here again. And so the creatives and the energy that they set up is different from the others. And so at the wind of birth, you stand there as a completely and totally unique creature, ready to come back in the planet. You don't arrive with a blank slate. You have to know that. There are those who can read your Akash, and they won't be reading every lifetime. They'll be the ones that stick out, the ones that have a profundity about them, where you accomplished things, or perhaps worse, you didn't. Or dramatic things happen. It's all based on energy potentials. You'll hear that again. You're about to come back, and laying upon you are all these potentials and possibilities. You're coming back as part of the family. Where you will be, the gender that you will be, and the place you will be within that place is all part of the planning. The most difficult thing for me to describe to you is the planning. For this particular planning is not linear. It's not something that you would see on a spreadsheet. It's energy based, and it's based into family. If you have awakened, there is potential there that is not there if you have not. And so an old soul will go to another place perhaps that a young soul would not, all in the wind of birth. And you're ready for it. And we've talked about that moment before, right before you come into the planet. The old soul, especially the old soul in the new energy, is completely different at the wind of birth. The old soul who has awakened over and over and is coming back with that library filled with spiritual purpose is comfortable with the process, remembers very fully what they've been through. The old soul is not going to be subject to some of the energies that push and pull a younger soul. The old soul has made up his or her mind as part of the planning what they were going to do. The old soul may even have known it before they left. This is the difference. We've told you in previous channels some of the interesting differences between new humans and ones like you. We told you that the DNA changes that you have provided through your enlightenment and knowledge is going to bring a child forward the next time you arrive who remembers how to read, who doesn't have to be taught everything, who can walk earlier and talk earlier because they remember it, because the bridge in their DNA is starting to be complete between what was and what is. Therefore, the human being to be born is not one with a clean slate that has to know absolutely everything from scratch, but comes in with a full load. And as their brain develops, they then remember who they are.